You wake up on concrete, the room is gray, empty, 8 by 8 feet. You're wearing an orange jumpsuit with D9341 printed across the chest. You don't remember your name, you don't remember how you got here. There's a steel door with no handle on your side, and a speaker mounted in the corner near the ceiling. Nothing else. The speaker crackles, a voice, flat and clinical, gives you your first instruction. Stand facing the door, you do. The door opens. A guard in black tactical gear gestures for you to follow. No words. You walk down a hallway lit by fluorescent lights that hum too loud. Other doors line the walls, identical to yours. You pass D9287, D9316, D9322. You wonder what happened to the numbers between yours and theirs. You're brought to a room, white walls, observation glass on one side, a table in the center with a clay sculpture of a hand. The guard leaves, the door locks behind you, the speaker crackles again. Touch the object, document your observations. You hesitate. The voice repeats the instruction, identical tone, identical pacing. You touch the clay hand, it's warm, too warm. Your fingers sink slightly into the surface. It twitches, you pull back. The hand rotates on the table by itself, fingers curling inwards slowly. You watch it for 11 minutes, nothing else happens. The door unlocks, you're escorted back to your cell. Day 2, different room, a mirror covering the entire back wall. You're told to stand 3 feet away and maintain eye contact with your reflection. Easy enough, you stare. Your reflection blinks half a second after you do. You blink again, it's synchronized this time. You convince yourself you imagined it. 5 minutes pass, your reflection smiles. You're not smiling, your chest tightens. You step back, the voice from the speaker is calm. Remain in position, continue observation. You force yourself to stay. Your reflection tilts its head. You didn't move. It raises one hand slowly. You keep both hands at your sides. The test ends. You're returned to your cell. You don't sleep that night. Day 5, they take you to a room with a concrete statue. Humanoid shape, vaguely human, but wrong proportions. Rebar sticking out from the neck. The instructions are specific. Maintain direct eye contact. Do not blink. Do not look away. 2 other D-class personnel are with you. D9298 and D9340. The 3 of you stare at the statue. Your eyes burn. D9340 blinks. You hear a sound like concrete scraping concrete. You don't see the statue move. You don't see what happens. You hear D9340 scream once, then nothing. The body is on the floor, neck twisted completely backward. The statue is in a different position than before. No one tells you to stop looking. You don't blink. D9298 is shaken. 15 minutes later, the door opens. You're escorted out. D9298 stays behind for additional observation. You never see D9298 again. Day 9, the tests stop feeling like tests. A researcher in a white coat asks you questions. Do you remember your name? You don't. Do you remember why you're here? You don't. Do you feel afraid? You pause. You're not sure anymore. The researcher writes something down. You're dismissed. Day 12, you're brought to a hallway that shouldn't exist. It extends farther than the building allows. The walls are the same gray concrete, but the floor tiles repeat in a pattern that makes your eyes hurt if you focus too long. You're told to walk to the end. You walk for 30 minutes. The exit door is always the same distance away. You turn around, the door you entered through is gone. Just more hallway. You keep walking forward. Eventually you're back in your cell. You don't remember the walk ending. You don't remember the transition. You were in the hallway, now you're here. Day 16, they bring you to the room with the clay hand again. It's not on the table anymore. It's on the floor in the corner. The fingers are longer. It moves toward you slowly, dragging itself across the tile. You're told to remain in the room for observation. The hand reaches your foot. It grabs your ankle. The grip is firm. You feel warmth spreading up your leg. The voice from the speaker tells you to describe the sensation. You try to answer, but the words don't come out right. The hand releases you. You're escorted back. Your leg feels different. You can't explain how. Day 23, you realize you've stopped counting days. They blend together now. Tests, observations, your cell, repeat. You don't resist anymore. You follow instructions without hesitation. The guards don't need to gesture. You already know where to go. A researcher comments that you're adapting well. You don't know what that means. You don't ask. The tests continue, each one stranger than before, each one leaving, and something behind that you can't quite name. Day 31, they move you to a different wing. The hallways look identical, but the air tastes metallic. Your cell has no bed anymore, just walls. You stand. You don't remember sitting. A guard arrives, no instructions. You follow anyway. The room has a mirror, floor to ceiling. You're told to look at your reflection. You do. The face staring back isn't yours, wrong bone structure, different eyes, you reach up to touch your face. The reflection doesn't move. It watches you, you step back, the reflection steps forward, the door locks. You're alone with it for 6 hours. When they retrieve you, the reflection is smiling. You weren't. Day 37. You wake up in a room you've never seen. White tiles, surgical lights, a metal table. You're strapped down. A researcher leans over you. She doesn't speak. She injects something into your arm. Your vision splits. You see the room from 2 angles simultaneously. One from the table, one from the ceiling. You try to move. Both perspectives shift differently. The researcher takes notes. Your sense of location fractures. You exist in multiple spaces at once. The injection wears off. You collapse back into one perspective. Or maybe you don't. You're not certain. Day 42, the tests change again. They bring you to a room with a single chair. You sit, nothing happens, hours pass, you wait. A voice from the speaker asks what you see. You describe the empty room, the voice pauses. There are 17 objects in that room. You look again, still empty. The voice repeats the question. You insist the room is empty. The session ends, you're escorted out. As you leave, you glance back. The room is filled with furniture, equipment, papers scattered across a desk. It wasn't there before, or maybe it was. Day 49. You can't remember your cell number anymore. You know you had one. Dash something. The numbers won't stay in your head. A researcher asks you to state your designation. You open your mouth, nothing comes out. She writes something down, moves on. You try again later, alone, whispering to yourself. The sounds don't form words. You know language, you understand everything they say, but producing it feels foreign now, like operating machinery you've forgotten how to use. Day 53. They don't bring you to testing. You stay in your cell. The walls are closer than yesterday. You're sure of it. You measure with your arm, same distance, but the space feels compressed, tighter. You sit in the corner. The opposite wall seems farther away now. Distances shift when you're not looking. You close your eyes, count to 10, open them. The door's on a different wall. You're certain it moved, or you moved, or the room rotated while you weren't paying attention. Day 58, you meet another D class in a testing chamber, D8847. You're both told to sit across from each other, no other instructions. You stare at them, they stare back. After 20 minutes, D8847 speaks, says your face is changing. You ask how, they don't answer, just keep staring. You touch your face, feels the same. D8847 stands up, backs away, starts screaming. Guards rush in, remove them. You sit alone for another hour. When they escort you out, you catch your reflection in the observation glass. Your features are slightly different. Softer edges, like someone drew you from memory instead of life. Day 61. A researcher sits across from you, asks if you remember why you're here. You don't. Asks if you remember your crime. You don't. Asks if you remember anything before the Foundation. You pause. Try to recall. There's nothing, just testing, just cells, just following instructions. The researcher nods, writes extensively. You watch her pen move across the paper. The motion is hypnotic. You forget the question. She leaves. You remain seated. No one tells you to move. You stay there until someone retrieves you hours later. Day 67, you stop distinguishing between tests and returning to your cell. Everything blurs into one continuous sequence. Room, hallway, room, observation, injection, waiting, instructions you follow without processing. Your body moves efficiently, your mind drifts somewhere adjacent. Watching yourself from a slight distance, researchers comment on your compliance. You're a model subject. You don't resist, don't question, don't exhibit distress. You've become exactly what they need. A variable that responds predictably. Data that records itself. You're not sure when the transition completed. When you stopped being a person who experiences things and became a mechanism that processes them, the Foundation doesn't explain. They simply continue, and you follow. Because that's what you do now. That's all you are. A function inside their system. Running smoothly, producing results, existing without question. The tests never end. You don't expect them to. This is what it means to be D-class. Not the dying part. That's almost merciful. It's the slow unmaking. The Foundation doesn't need you to survive. They need you to change, to bend, to become something measurable. You wanted to know what happens inside those walls. Now you do, and the worst part? Somewhere in another facility, in another gray cell, another D-class is waking up on concrete, wearing an orange jumpsuit, reading a number they'll forget, about to follow the same path you just watched. The Foundation has endless supply, endless patience, endless rooms.